Welcome back to AMTV News. I'm your anchor, Topher Morrison. It's Monday, January 7th, 2013. DIPLOMAGEDDON, the U.S. student loan bailout. Some claim it's bigger than the sovereign debt or even the subprime mortgage crisis. In its quest to provide every American with the almighty diploma, and mind you, any diploma will do, naturally opening all doors to everyone, notwithstanding, say, 17% of American youth who can't find a door to open, more and more students have been driven to default on their loans. Rather than allow the clear signal to sink in for Americans that diploma mills, massive debt, and degrees will not always equip you to seize the American dream, the federal government will allow you to either A, claim poverty and make $0 payments and still remain in compliance with student loan repayment, or B, grab a benefit-rich job working for the government and disappear your debt. Just like that. Hey, what's one more bailout in the United States of insolvency, courtesy of the American taxpayer? FBI. Anwar al-Awlaki bought 9/11 hijackers tickets. Round and round we go. The FBI has over the last decade been deeply involved in countless elaborately staged entrapments and betting dubious long-term moles in counterterrorism operations. What was New Mexico-born Anwar al-Awlaki?
Is the only reason for the survival of some governments in the Middle East. Governments who have some of the worst track records of human rights in the world. And these are the allies of the United States in the Middle East. Muslim governments. But they are dictatorships, tyrannical, totalitarian regimes. And if it is not the U.S. who's backing them, they would crumble one after another. The U.S. needs to support freedom and human rights in the Muslim world. Because the people in the Muslim world only saw America as their enemy when they saw America supporting these governments. They had nothing against America. They were concerned with what's going on in their own countries.
Redacted FBI documents suggest the government knew a week after the 9/11 attacks, al-Awlaki purchased tickets for 3 of the hijackers. Official suspicion aside, he was invited, spoke, and lunched at the Pentagon Executive Dining Room in February of 2002. Later that year, returning from Saudi Arabia, he serendipitously dodged passport fraud after being detained at JFK Airport and then subsequently released by the FBI. 2004, he moved to Yemen. 2007, he was interviewed by the FBI in jail. And by September 30th, 2011, was assassinated by drone 10 years after the intrigue began. That's a lot of foreplay. Welcome to Mother Russia. Loosen your belts. Oh boy, this must have the old Gipper turning in his grave. The beast is not only feeding well off of taxpayers and Fed pumping, but the engineered fiscal cliff debacle has left his Republican Party compromised and bewildered. Meanwhile, the old evil empire has managed to dodge the largely debt-based worldwide meltdown. It is now the Saudi Arabia of oil, touting a robust defense industry, teamed up with China, with whom counter our every geopolitical move. But now Russia's low and lucky 13% flat taxes look like a warm bear hug as well flees the developed world for new parking spots. Assad's olive branch rejected. Someone sure looks popular as President Bashar al-Assad of Syria attempts to rally his people against foreign intervention. Assad essentially reiterates his desire to reconcile with the opposition and to hold elections. The international community, as well as the Syrian opposition, however, rejected once again this overture as too little too late. According to Assad, quote, "We never rejected a political solution, but with whom should we talk? With those who have an extremist ideology? Who only understand the language of terrorism? Or should we negotiate with puppets whom the West has bought?" Elections and a new constitution is the prescription of Lakhdar Brahimi, but considering the abortions and governance experience thus far in Cairo, Tripoli, and throughout the Middle East, democracy, as we well know now, is anything but a cure-all. On this day in 1959, the U.S. recognized Fidel Castro. Banking on Castro to be a new pro-American face of Cuba, Castro eventually turned his back on his neighbors to the north for the largesse and friendship of the Soviet Union. And why not? The brilliant maneuver, which supplemented poor economic planning and countered stymieing economic sanctions, set Fidel Castro and his brand of communism up to outlast 10 U.S. presidencies. The snub also cemented Cuba's leadership as the spearhead of Latin American opposition to U.S. hegemony. Fidel Castro has proven opposing something unpopular is as powerful as proving competent. Representative Jose Serrano wants President Obama for life. Representative Jose Serrano is part of the Progressive Caucus, a man who occupies one of the safest districts in America and who has, in a quarter century of political life, never won by less than 92%. While others are excoriated for wanting to repeal outmoded 20th century social programs, or ending the Federal Reserve, or repealing the income tax, this dinosaur of a representative who is rarely heard of until now outside the abstruse cliques of Washington and the Bronx evidently wants to make a name for himself. And how? By submitting a resolution to repeal the 22nd Amendment to abolish presidential term limits. Oh, Jose. It's in opposition to a nonpartisan movement, which makes sense to the majority of Americans, but Jose Serrano has submitted it for the second time, a truly bizarre solution to America's mounting problems. Can progressives truly call this guy forward-thinking? Capturing every corner of the alternative media, watch AMTV News Monday through Friday. For more videos like these, visit amtvmedia.com, home of the AMTV network, the voice of independence.